So my game called Light takes inspiration from my personal life and also from a specific video game called Transistor. Firstly, from my personal life, it's the case of feeling lonely and trying to find your way back to safety or society. And for the video game, Transistor. It was the actual art style, the environment. So I actually took the environment of a neon city, so like a Japanese city tech district. So I want to have that dull, desolate, dangerous look. So the sense of danger is really there, and the sense of vulnerability to the player is really there. The aim of the game is like a cat and mouse survival game, with the cat being controlled by the player. And what you have to do is collect pickups to move on to the next level and become closer to home, because this cat has been left in the city and is trying to find its way back home. So, let's recap. You are, funny enough, the cat, which is a mouse in this cat and mouse game. And your cat is this guard here. Now, the survival part of it is where you start playing with the player in tow, and you use the mouse to click around your environment to where you want to go. So I could go here, here, and I have to avoid the light of this guard, otherwise he's gonna catch me, and that's not gonna end too well for me, which probably can happen right now. Oh my god. And I have to use my time and my environment to my advantage, otherwise I get captured. So that is a visual representation of what this game is. So it's to get from point A to point B, collect the pickups, and avoid the guard. The most important part of this game, I would say, or probably what did work well, a few scripts did, including the menu itself. So I could toggle controls, I could quit the game with the debug.log on the console telling me if I quit the game, which is very helpful when I'm developing this. And my lecturer actually told me to use debug.log if you're unsure if a product does or does not work. It could be the make or break point. So the most important part for me, the most important part and what worked very well, was the player controls worked very well on the left hand side of your screen here. It worked very well, and when used with NavMesh, giving the player simple yet an effective means of navigation comes in really handy, and it can simplify those controls. So within the top here, I've reorganized my code just to split between the player, the enemy, the NavMesh, and the animation. So obviously I started with the void update, but using the simple floats, the horizontal and the vertical, just from the inbuilt floats in Unity. And what I've done in turn, I've applied the get mouse button in here, which I've also organized to specific buttons so people are aware of which one I'm applying it to. I use the mouse button, and using array I can click out any point of my environment, like the floor, and make sure that the cat follows that like you have just seen. In addition to that, yes, I've also used debug.log. Like I say, I learned that from my lecturer, to make sure that works. And then afterwards I also have the raycasting, but it's not really what's more important to me. What's more important to me is the on collision enter, which I learned about a lot. The on collision enter is what defines something you should or shouldn't touch. So in here I've used collision.gameObject.compareTag enemy. So this is basically saying if this happens, I will probably die. Go back to the fatal screen right here in the main menu. Otherwise, I can have a trigger on the cube in my environment, which I'll show you later. Have that as a collectible and then move on to the next level, or just say I've passed and go back to the main menu. So I thought that worked very well. And in addition to that, I also thought the menu worked very well for being a simplistic looking menu. So I used scene management in this, which I'm fully aware that what this would do is, depending on what you want to do with a specific button, like for example quick game, I will type in public void quick game, I will log that like you saw earlier, and then make sure the application shuts down and quits. After you find out one of those buttons, it's very easy afterwards to apply it to the rest of these buttons. If I get up my menu now, we'll have a quick description of what that means. So let's have a look. If I go into my canvas and then move on to the quit button that's right here. If I was to play this now, I could, with these different types of functions, I could hover over buttons and make sure they change tone of color so you're aware of whether or not they've been interacted with. This is yet again another thing that my lecturer fully covered and I learned very well off. And like you say, I can go back into my script and say public void quick game and then do what I want to it. This came in handy a lot after a while. This also had, let me have a look, private void start. So my control image was set to active false. Now I learned control images set actives through my time of studying UI. So what I put in below here is public void open dbox, which is currently set to false. And if it's currently set to false and I click to bring it up, it will set it back to true. It's very simple using booleans to like apply different things to whatever the hell you want. What I'd say went wrong specifically is the time it took to actually do the environment. It took up a lot of time, and personally I would want to clutter it up. I would want to make it a little bit more crowded, give the aesthetic a little bit more to the player. Like I want to play this game and know that I feel the culture of the Japanese city vibe, the neon city vibe. But shamefully, time was not my friend, and I only managed to do the one level. I have level 2, but it was never finished on time to the point where it was completely interactable. But how could it be further developed? I would say that, funny enough, I would redo my theory on my code, make sure I knew everything, and then come back to it afterwards, write out the entirety of the code in like a blocked out area environment, and then move on to the next one, do the exact same thing, and by the time I'm finished all my levels, come back and then start polishing everything up. Polishing up features and then obviously the art afterwards. But yeah, I hope this is a very explanatory video and I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope I actually do meet the expectations of what this curriculum holds. Thank you.